Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the South Haven City Council. Today is January 21st, 2025. This meeting is called to order. Tonight's invocation is by Pastor Aaron Cobbs of the Spiritual Church of Christ.
Good evening. Almighty God, as our city council gather, we seek your divine guidance and wisdom. May your divine wisdom set the tone for productive and harmonious discussion. Let your presence inspire our leaders to make decisions that benefit our community and promote unity. And Father God, we ask your protection around our first responders. We ask you to put a hedge of protection around them to keep them safe. We pray for the city. We pray that if there any division among the council, among any members of the city council, we ask you to remove the division and replace it with unity. And we thank you for these blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we have roll call, please, Megan?
Of course. Jeff Arnold.
Here.
Mary Hosley.
Here.
Wendy Onuki.
Here.
Joe Reeser.
Here.
George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
Annie Brown.
Here. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I would like to amend that motion to delete items 6A, 6B, and 6D from the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second to approve the agenda with the deletions of A, B, and D under community update?
A second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I would move to amend the agenda to add agenda item 12C, 1 and 2. Item 1 is City Council shall consider directing City Manager Hosier to copy the City Council as a whole on any email with Bloom Sluggett regarding short-term rentals, housing, and lifeguards, and directing City Manager to instruct her staff to copy her on any email of the same subject matter that a staff sends to Bloom Sluggett, so the city manager can forward it to the city council as a whole. Alternatively, copy at least Councilwoman Hosley. And number 2, city council shall consider directing city manager Hosier to copy city council as a whole on any email with Mayor Brown. Alternatively, copying at least city councilwoman Hosley.
Before there's a second on that, I think we should vote on the First Amendment. That way we are clear on what we're voting on. So right now, there is a motion to approve the agenda by Jeff Arnold, but a motion to amend by George Sleeper that has been seconded by Letitia Wilkin to delete items 6A, B, and D.
Thank you. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The motion passes and that agenda is approved.
And then if
No.
there's
No, we
a,
have to-
yep. Now would be appropriate time to make your motion to amend the amended approved agenda
Do you want me to reread it? Or can I?
to this body.
So I move to
To amend?
to amend the agenda to add item 12C, 1 and 2. 1 is City Council shall consider directing City Manager Hosier to copy the City Council as a whole on any email with Bloom Sluggett regarding short-term rentals, housing, and lifeguards, and directing City Manager to instruct her staff to copy her on any email of the same subject matter that a staff sends to Bloom Sluggett, so the City Manager can forward it to the City Council as a whole. Alternatively, copy at least City Councilwoman Hosley. Item 2, City Council shall consider directing City Manager Hosier to copy the City Council as a whole on any email with Mayor Brown, alternatively copying at least Councilwoman Hosley.
There's no second, so this
I'll
dies.
second it. I was waiting if there was going to be a comment, sorry.
Any discussion? Kate, do you want to start?
What's the purpose?
Okay. George?
So even though just copying and sending out emails is not that big a deal. The concern I have about this, so the
Point
relationship.
of order, it's whether it gets added to the agenda or not, the subject matter can be part of the discussion
This is,
of the agenda.
this is time for discussion.
Well, I'm just trying to say why I don't support changing the agenda. And-
Go ahead,
And
George.
if it doesn't work, I'll have my discussion again later. But, so, the relationship between city council and the city manager is a relationship that should be built on trust. This motion indicates to me a lack of trust on the part of the city manager, and I don't feel that I can support this, even added to the agenda, let alone approving it if it does get added to the agenda.
Any other discussion? Wendy?
Thank you. I will support adding it to the agenda just simply for a discussion. We can all vote however we want, but if there is a lack of trust or some other issues that are bringing this about, I feel like discussing that in the open should be
This
something
is
that we
the
can do.
discussion time to get it on there. Do you want to talk anymore now?
No.
Any other discussion? You want, go ahead.
Excuse me. I won't be supporting this. This should not be on the agenda. This is an incredible overreach, micromanagement. There's a clause here that says, just to copy Councilwoman Hosley, only Ward 3 voted for her. She only represents Ward 3. She does not represent Ward 2 or Ward 1. She's not the speaker for the community. That's the mayor. This is an incredible overreach by one council member, an incredible amount of micromanagement. No way I support this.
Thank you.
And
Excuse me, were you going to say something?
Is this the time to discuss? Okay, so no.
Yeah.
I'll wait till discussion.
You can discuss this
Well,
now and later, whenever you want to.
I think that if Councilwoman Housley is bringing this up, we should be wondering, why does she feel this way? Why is there a lack of trust? So maybe we should, have an honest discussion about that.
And that would be for the agenda. And the reason I said alternatively just me is because some people say there are too many emails and they don't want to be copied. I would prefer that the city council as a whole get copied on it, and I'm prepared to go into discussion once it is added why I have requested this.
Okay, any more discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Of course. Arnold?
No.
Hasley?
Yes.
Onuki?
Yes.
Reeser?
Yes.
Sleeper?
No.
Wilkins?
Yes.
And Brown?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, so this will be placed on 12C, 1 and 2. Okay, so the agenda's approved, or do we need another?
We need now a second on the motion to approve the amended agenda, which now has deleted A, B, and D as a motion that was approved, as well as amended 12C1 and C2.
Thank you.
So is there a second, I guess?
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say yes.
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 Opposed?
No.
Did you say no?
I said no.
No, I'm saying no. Okay, moving on, the agenda's approved. It is time for community update, and we have a report from Liberty Hyde Bailey Museum. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good cold evening.
Can you, I need you to be at the microphone. Thanks.
Yes, good cold evening. Thanks for the opportunity. I have some handouts that you could pass around.
I can do it for you. That'll save you time.
We can just pass it down.
All right, well, thank you. Opportunity here to bring some highlights over the last couple of years. Some good stuff has been going on. We've been very active. There's more things that are scheduled. But I'd like to get through, and yes, I'm Dan Williamson. I'm here as the chair of the board, drafted and replacing my Bailey mom, Ann Long, who most of you, if not everyone, knows. It is a volunteer board. We need to keep that in mind, with a wide range of skill sets working together. 2 years ago, I was invited to present a Zoom presentation to the Historical Society of Michigan's History Hounds. Given the available dates, I of course picked the one closest to Bailey's birthday. What we ended up with was an hour-long Zoom across the state of Michigan to about 400 history hounds all over the state, in all different parts of the state, including the UP. It was a really lovely experience for me. It was very educational for the people who responded back to the Society of History at Michigan. It is available through History Hounds. We can make arrangement to see the real original. We also shot it at the Bailey, and I think it might be on our website. What people didn't know, this picture that you see, the image, is what we cut at the end of the presentation. That is Bailey's 166th birthday cake. Nobody knew it was a cake. It came out really great from Meyer. The Girl Scouts were there, several people from the museum members, and others who came in at our invitation to see it. So it was really a lot of fun. You know, okay, next please. You know, when Bailey grew up here so many years ago, he was quite a farm boy. You never smiled back then because the exposures were so long. That's why he looked so happy here out on the farm. What I also had, which could not get played, but MSU provides a science festival for their students every year except COVID. So we produced at the museum a video to send to Lansing that was on play for a whole month during spring breaks, and it was really great. The video is available on our website, and it was too big to email to Kate. So, but it was an awful lot of fun for that too, and it's used in schools by teachers because it's thorough. I got a lot of compliments. It started as a 6-minute and went to about 18 minutes, which required a change order. One of the great, if we could click, please. That one you can click through. That's the video that could not play. As you can see, living to be 96, Bailey accomplished an awful lot in his life. Most of it at Cornell and around the country, working for Teddy Roosevelt on the Commission of Country Life. Next, please. You know, some of you, that Bailey's family, the birth parents and his brother, are buried at Lakeview Cemetery in this plot. It's fairly modest. You can see the Mason logo because, again, Bailey's father was instrumental in bringing and building the Star of the Lake Masonic Lodge. Next, please. And this is just another shot, so we'll go to the next one. That was a very humble burial for Bailey's parents. This is where our Bailey and his wife and daughter are entombed in this very nice Egyptian mausoleum built by the university, Cornell University, in honor of him. So one of the great contributions Bailey made was the advocacy for youth education. It led to the museum's creation of our budding naturalists. Next, please. This is one of our premier programs for the kids in the summertime. This year, for the first time, we hosted 4- and 5-year-olds under the tutelage of Sandra Sutton, who is on our board and is an experienced youth educator. The kids loved it. We're going to have 2 sessions for that age group this coming year. Bailey also started 4-H for rural youth. I found that out early on, but then when I was cleaning the closet, there was a picture in a frame of having the picnic on the grounds with a horse, a donkey, a sheep, a duck, and a rabbit, and the 4-H flag was flying from the house. It was a nice photo to run across. All right, we'll move on. What's new at the museum? Okay, go ahead, please. Story Walk. Some of you may know that we're on number 25. Every month, a new story goes in the ground in coordination with the library who's picking books. If you click, please. Here's one of the signs. This is in the woods right now. Over and under, kids can learn which animals live underneath and stay alive, who lives above ground, and how do they get through the winter. It's great to see the kids running around. There weren't too many out there today, but being on number 25, we've had a lot of visitors. All right. Next, the budding naturalists I mentioned, so we won't go there. The 4th Bailey Fall Conference was held. It was a great success. We had a real NASA scientist as our keynote speaker, and as I told the audience, she was smart enough not to go on the shuttle up, or on the launch. She wouldn't have made it back for the conference, as the other two are still up there. All right, lots of technical lectures, some by MSU Extension and others. So now, good grants. Next one, please. Oh, I missed the one part there. Some of you know, every Friday morning at 8:20 a.m., I'm live with Paul Landecker on Cozy Radio for the Bailey Moment. I think this Friday is going to be number 90 in a row, and all but 3 were live. There were a couple holidays in there. It's really been fun and a challenge to learn something new every day, every week, to entertain and educate. First, in the grants. Yes, the good. This one, we thank the Community Foundation. They provided a grant to help widen 2 of the doorways inside the museum that were built in 1855 and obviously were not compliant. With the grant money, we rented a skilled restoration carpenter from Cottage Home. Did an excellent job. Some of you have seen the final product there. It's wonderful. We really are happy to have gotten that done. Next, for Rotary, they provided some funding and a little bit of labor, not as much as they thought they were going to have turn up, to help work on the north loop of the path. We had upgraded the south loop 2 years ago. Next, the South Haven Garden Club and the Chamber of Commerce, because they have helped support our Bailey naturalists during the summertime, and it's been very beneficial for the kids. Next, Van Buren Conservation District. Those of you who've been there, you can tell the dead zone to the right of the carriage barn, and then it was full of rock and weed. So we reclaimed the patio bricks that you see on the left, and with the grant from Van Buren Conservation District, we built the sensory pathway for the kids. On the right side, you see multiple different materials in there for kids to learn about what it feels like and how different grasses grow and different plants grow. So that's been really fun. It also has the mud kitchen with it, which the kids love the mud kitchen. So we're going to expand that area before spring. Okay, now, next, the danger zone, safety danger. Some of you know this is the area that was between the McNeil room and the kitchen. Circles on trippables, the patio are all out of alignment. There's 2 steps down. The little red box going horizontal doesn't match the ramp that goes into the building. So it's a huge 12-foot stumbling pattern. Well, next, please. Not anymore. So not only did we clean that up, but you'll see 3 smaller red circles. Those are new drains that were put in to tie into the storm sewer that DPW connected our downspouts to about 5 years ago. When I got involved, they would drain down and into the basement. So this is another huge improvement, and it's safe. They are striped yellow where appropriate now, but that was after the concrete settled in. All right. The other is the south loop that has been mentioned. The fabric on the top left, they dug it up, smoothed it, put the fabric down in a much higher quality of mulch. Yes, for years we got mulch from DPW, from Corey, grinding up trees. It wasn't very walkable. It was not safe. It could not get a wheelchair across it. This was able to handle a motorized scooter in addition to wheelchairs, and that was great. Next, we're pursuing the Historical Society grant for upgrades for community museums. I know that the Center for the Arts is also, and we're hoping to get a second toilet built that's ADA outside with extra room. We've lost events because of materials not being able to get enough people to the toilet, the single non-compliant toilet that we have. The fence was in disrepair, but Bryce, if we could go quick, and then we can send this out later, because I'm just about out of time, which is the current issue. So if we skip, next one, let's go there. Okay. Next, please. This is the area that comes into mind with fiscal issues and the board's frustration and need to try and move forward. You can read, and like I said, we'll get copies of it so you can understand. It's a big, long, convoluted story, and it started when the board went to the former city manager and requested that the previous director be asked to resign because of projects that were getting initiated that the board had no idea about, and that was really poor. So we're kind of work through the transition here, and hopefully we can find a way to do that collectively. The rest are numbers. Won't go into it right now. Then lastly, if you look at the current board, who's on there with me? Joan, of course, most of you know, treasurer. Wendy, Cheyenne Sloan from MSU Extension, who's a small fruit expert, very busy in this side of Michigan. Unfortunately, she was very busy in Traverse City because of the kill on the on the cherries. Robin Riva, our artist. Leah Will from Conservation District, who did not vote on our grant. And Sandra Sutton, I mentioned. Carrie Souter is a mother educator in Illinois and Michigan. As always, thanks for the opportunity. Skipped a few things in the video, but you can go see it on a nice cold winter day. So any questions?
I appreciate your emails that come every Sunday at 8 o'clock. I am lying on my couch drinking coffee, and I can count on them like clockwork. So that's part of my Sunday morning routine.
I don't take credit for that. That's our social media maven, Ashley Baumgars, who does that
good.
for us. And she's greatly increased our presence and our data, but that could be another report.
Well, tell her I appreciate it.
I will. And she tracks it, so we
good.
know the impact.
Good.
So,
I'll be sure to open mine and read them.
anybody else?
I just had a comment.
Wendy?
As the city council liaison or participant on the board, I would just like to say that it's been an awesome experience. I know a few others have served on the museum before, but I feel like it's such a great gem that we have here in our city. It's a really important landmark, really. One of the few historically designated buildings that we have here. And I probably don't talk about it enough up here and kind of keep our minds on it, but I feel like as a council, if there's anything that we can do to make sure the museum is supported, because I think it is important and it should be on our radar too, so that we don't lose it at some point in the future. I feel like I need to be more mindful of that. As a council, maybe we can figure out ways we can support this museum.
Well, we'd like to work with you to do that. And then it is the only structure on the National Historic Registration here in the state. So, anything else?
Are you-
Sorry. Go ahead.
Are you expecting to get to $34,000? Or is that a Kate question?
I haven't budgeted for that. Over the last 5 years, we had to look at the budget, and we've spent around, we've given the Liberty High Bailey over $200,000 in contrast to the Center of the Arts, which shares the same fund. The Center of the Arts has, I think, got $86,000. So of the 286, and this is not right number, not the entire numbers, because we do pay the utilities for both buildings, because both buildings are city property. But we have spent over $200,000 with the Bailey Museum versus $86,000 for Center of the Arts. So again, this is more of a budgeting process, and we have to always go through this every year about figuring out where things go. But that's a conversation to continue as we start the budgeting process.
Thanks.
Mary?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the free programs that you offer, and I also know you're a site for the Conservation District. I know people who put in orders for free trees are able to pick them up at the museum, and I just think that it's a huge asset to our area, especially with the horticultural aspect of it and helping budding our agriculturists continue. So please let us know what we can do to help.
Very good. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Stay warm going home.
You too.
Thank you, Dan.
Next, an update from Van Buren County Commissioner Gail Patterson Gladney.
Thank you for your time and attention, and it's great to see everybody. I, as you see, have quite a lot here, and I will cut my portion a little because I can give Kate, if you could give out the highlights from the county for 2024, that way I will just hit on a couple highlights of what we've done at the county. Broadband expansion and technology updates. The board made significant progress on several key initiatives funded through the ARPA $7 million allocation, and it was dedicated to expanding broadband access across underserved areas of the county. Also, the board finalized $950,000 recipient agreement with the VBISD for the ARPA-funded Van Buren County Youth Center project. And I don't know if any of you have gone to the Arts Center. The Arts Center is doing the western part of the county, and then Luke's Light is working with students with free music lessons, art lessons. They give them the instruments. So if you know youth, please make sure that they look into that. Other noteworthy ARPA-funded projects completed during the year are the court operations. We implemented a $5,000 court file digitalization project that helped to streamline the court operations. And then the Road Commission, we gave funds to help them with the construction of County Road 388. We supported the Public Health Department with the purchase of new dental chairs and aided the city of South Haven with lead service line replacements. So, as I said, there's quite a lot of things that we've done, and I appreciate your time, but one last thing I wanted to talk about from the highlights, the USDA Housing Preservation Grant. There is $105,701 in USDA funding that we received and approved for submitting a grant application to MISHDA for matching funds to support home rehabilitation projects. So you'll be hearing more about that, hopefully in the future. Oh, and I just wanted to mention that the Van Buren County Mental Health Board, your mayor sits on that, along with other South Haven residents, Claire Only, and from the South Haven Township, Mike Sines. Because yesterday was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, I wanted to read a quote. And I know Councilman Arnold usually does that every year when I was on the board with him. But the quote, I'm going to change a little, take a little liberty. It says, "The ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where she stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where she stands at times of challenge and controversy." And so we are, I believe, in those times. And I'm looking forward to our community, at least, trying to grow together to solve our issues and make the community a better place. I'm not sure if you have received the Consumer Energy Foundation 2025 Planet Awards. The deadline is January 31st, so these come out quickly. It can also be for nonprofits. So has to do with land, water, and air quality, so I'm going to just give you that. Also, I got this from Nancy Whaley, so that has to do with that.
Okay, thank
And
you.
then, I don't know if any of you know Julie Piak from MSU Extension. She's retiring.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is her retirement party. It's going to be Friday, February 7th. So, yes, she's been with us a long time. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Gail, for all your information, but I do have a couple of questions. I heard the end part where you talked about the music lessons for the children. What was that? Where was that at again?
It's through the VBISD, Van Buren Intermediate School District. They are, I guess you would say, fiduciary.
How would a person get in touch with them?
Well, if I was you, I would just call Carrie Hagee at the Center for the Arts. And she works closely with that program. And as I said, they get the free guitars, the other instruments. I don't think they get a piano, but, but
That
they do
part,
have that.
the Luke's Light is only for Eastern Van Buren County, is that correct?
No, any of the students can go either of the places.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Mary?
So I would,
I wasn't finished.
Oh,
No,
oh,
I
sorry.
have-
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Letitia, I
Excuse
have
me?
information on the guitar.
Oh, okay, great. And then you had a lot of good stuff today. Not saying you don't always have good stuff,
Oh,
but, but I did have a question about, you talked about mental health, and I wanted to know, have we ever thought about some type of housing for mental health people? And the reason I say that, because I see, and I know everyone else see, an increase of people walking around who have mental health issues. And I think there is a housing issue. I know there's a housing issue, period, but I just wondered, have we ever thought about it for mental health?
Yes, well, some of the people who we might see in our community who are walking around, they are in a group home already, and so it may not be in South Haven. Some people walk, one person I know walks from Covert all the way here. So if you're talking about possibilities of getting a homeless shelter where anyone can come, that's another discussion that I'd be willing to talk to you about. Over the years, we have seen homeless youth and homeless adults. But that is a very big topic, but we can always rise to the challenge.
Maybe I can just give you a call and chat about it, because I do know of a person.
Who is homeless or just has
Yes.
mental health? Oh, homeless and mental.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I would like to talk with you then.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And
You-
Mary?
So the Center for the Arts is in collaboration with the Van Buren Youth Initiative after-school fun program. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they have programs already ongoing. Tuesdays is visual arts, and Wednesday is an open studio where they have mentors there to help. And then starting this Thursday, the 23rd, there's a 6-week session for guitar lessons. You do not have to have a guitar. They have guitars available for you. And yes, just get in touch with Carrie at the Center for the Arts. And although it's a 6-week session, if you can't not make it this week, starting next week is fine. It doesn't have to be all 6 weeks for someone to participate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Yes.
So that took care of one of the items I was going to cover later.
And does
I
anyone-
have a question about the money for refurbishing homes. So that was a $105,000. Did we receive the money, or we're applying for it?
I think that we had just applied for
Okay.
it. We had to, as far as I know, I had talked to the county administration, and I wanted them to let me know when we have received it.
Okay.
So far I haven't
Okay,
found out about that, so.
okay, thanks.
Anything else?
You'll bring that information back to us when it comes out, right?
Yes, yes. And there's other housing grants that I hope to bring information back. And I know your city manager is working a lot with a lot of grants, probably already. So, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now it's time for public comment for items on the agenda excluding items scheduled for public hearing, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening, Lisa Croupiers, 561 Indiana Avenue. On behalf of many residents, I am requesting again to have the regulation of STR, short-term rental yard signs, to be included in the revisions of the short-term rental code of ordinance. Many of us have requested the discontinued use of permanent-looking short-term rental property identification and advertising signs in our neighborhoods. With the new STR Code of Ordinance revisions, STRs are identified as commercial properties. They are able to advertise online and in all the places where people advertise their commercial businesses. They don't need big yard signs in our residential neighborhoods. This is an obsolete notion. It is reasonable and agreeable to many residents to settle for a small banded sign, like the size of a political sign, up against the building or next to the registration in the window. The place for this regulation is in the STR Code of Ordinance, not in the regular zoning ordinance only, where yard signs like for sale signs are considered and regulated. Please ensure that this item will also be included and considered during the STR Code of Ordinance work session to be held soon. The other thing I would like to mention is many of us continue to be concerned about enforcement with the new ordinances, especially during the summer when our city is so overwhelmed with population and our police staff is not adjusted with that, to my knowledge. And there's very few times many times I've called for police issues in the summer and ordinance issues, that type of thing, and was told that they are out on a call and would not be able to come to what I was calling about for the time being. So enforcement of many things, especially with the short-term rental code of ordinance, as the city attorney had said, that it would be wise for us to look into having individuals that are responsible for enforcement issues. Thank you.
Some people came in late, so I just want to read what has been added to the agenda in case you missed it. On item 12C, 1 and 2, number 1 states, City Council shall consider directing City Manager Hosier to copy the City Council as a whole on any email with attorneys Bloom and Sluggett regarding short-term rentals, housing, and lifeguards, and directing City Manager to instruct her staff to copy her on any email of the same subject matter that a staff sends to Bloom and Sluggett, so the City Manager can forward it to the City Council as whole. Alternatively, copy at least Councilwoman Hasley. And number 2, City Council shall consider directing City Manager Hosier to copy the City Council as a whole on any email with Mayor Brown, or alternatively, copy at least Councilwoman Hasley. Any other comments?
Joe Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street. I believe it fits right in this spot. If it don't, correct me. STRs has been an issue in this city since 2016, and I want to personally thank many residents like Elaine Herbert, that's not here tonight, but I want to thank her and many others who have stood up here, Elaine especially, have stood up here year after year, meeting after meeting, fighting to save what's left of our neighborhoods. Besides those that can't afford a home or find a place to stay in this city, I truly feel sorry for our seniors who worked hard and thought they were retiring in a community with year-round neighbors, but are now left in their senior years dealing with many issues and conditions caused by what I believe an overabundance of STRs. These are people, in my opinion, who, in their youth, vested in this area, not those who saw it as only a place to invest. There's a difference. At our last meeting, the council was accused by several of rushing a new STR ordinance through, but the fact is it has taken about 9 years to get to this point and having an ordinance that meet the desires of our residents in restricting these commercial businesses in our residential areas. As a longtime resident, I expect our staff and our city attorney to work with the council to get this done. Last meeting, I was a little taken back with our attorney's comment accusing the council of being in the weeds on this issue. I didn't think that was fair. It's simply not true. The majority of the council know exactly what the residents have been asking for of them as their representative. And in my opinion, it would be unacceptable if for any unknown reason an ordinance which meets the desire of the residents and the majority of this council is not written and passed within the next 4 weeks. I think we've gone through this enough. We know what the residents want. It should not be that difficult. As you know, many of the residents feel as if it's been long overdue. And since STR is a city priority, I feel it is incumbent on staff to get it done without running a risk of a failed attempt in the final hour to extend the existing moratorium. That is a grave concern for me, and it's a grave concern for a lot of residents that I talk to. So I'm hoping that we can get this done without a failed attempt at extending the moratorium, which in turn, many of us feel would open up the floodgates for more STRs and damage this city beyond repair. So I'm hoping that we could hash out all these things that needs to be hashed out, be transparent in doing it, and come to a quick resolution so we can help this city heal, because this has been a major issue that's been dividing this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, given the change in the agenda, is now the time for comments not on the agenda?
No.
Thank you.
Aaron Cobb, 914 Center Street. You know, you all been talking about STR for a long time. You've been talking about affordable housing. I've been in this city since 1968. Bought my home in 1973, been in the same address ever since. And you talk about affordable houses. All of that's good. We need affordable housing. But all the time you've been talking, I heard nothing from city council about bringing employment here, trying to get more employment here. Within a four-block radius, since in the 60s, 12 factories closed down. Probably over 3,000 workers lost their job. So we keep talking about STR. And one thing you said, people keep saying STR is a commercial. So if you believe that, I shouldn't have no problem in a commercial place getting a business permit. But will say one thing I hear about the STR, about affordable housing. And I would ask you a question. I don't know why you're allowed to ask questions now. If you were a developer, would you come to South Haven, develop home without employment? Would you develop home for people that are making minimum wage or less? That's my question I was thinking about. When all the factories were here, people came and bought homes. I came here in 1968, factories here. The home I'm in now, they built 3 homes there, and one of them, we bought one of them. People were building homes, companies were building homes, people were buying homes because there was work here, were factories here. Now, we said now Palisade coming back online, but, you know, that's still questionable. But without any manufacturer coming here, developers not gonna come and build here. I've been in the rental business for over 30 years, and I know a little bit about the rental business. And when I went in the rental business, water heater would cost $150. Now water heater will cost you $800 or more. So it costs lots more to build a home now. A developer not gonna build a home for people making Walmart wedges. So I think the council and the city need to start talking about bringing employment here. Because without any government subsidy, $1,200 a month, you can't pay $1,200 a month working at Walmart, working at the job that here now. And so this is what my input I want to put in to about, you know, affordable housing. We need affordable housing. I'm not against it. But what are we calling affordable housing? People asking that question. When you say affordable housing, put a number back. Affordable, is it $900 a month, $1,200 a month, $800 a month? You're throwing out affordable housing because everything is affordable to somebody. And just saying affordable housing, it's not good. You're talking to, I don't know who you're talking to when you said affordable housing. You know, next time you start talking about affordable housing, put a number. Say we want to build houses that is $800 a month, $700 a month, or ranging from $900 to $1,200 a month, or something like that. Without a number, just keep saying affordable housing. You're confusing people. People are confused. And as I said, for everything is affordable for somebody.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Susan Peterson. I'm at 270 Park Avenue, the Deer Crossing Road. We need signs. There's a few things in the short-term rental pack here that's very confusing, and everyone I've talked to is confused. And it's about the term. You're saying provided that no more than one term of.
Oh, can you stand a little bit more this way so you're in, and maybe pull it down in front of your mouth?
I'm too short, yes. The confusing part is the wording with the terms. You can have 2 terms of less than 6 nights occur in a 7-day period. I'm wondering if you can simplify that wording. It's like you can have 2 renters coming and going in a week. You know, people will get it because people aren't getting this. Everybody's like, what are they saying here? What's going on? And I still don't know if the rules are the same for each of these because the wording is, I guess it is a little different, but you need to clarify what's different for each section there. And I know I'm being repetitive, but I keep bringing up, and everybody agrees with me, and then it's not projected in the writing. It says a local agent is required. Well, I do my own. I live in my home for 10 months. I rent it for 2 months, and I'm my own agent. So clarification that you can be your own agent, but these same rules apply if you are, would be helpful. Also, the contact information posted in the window, I would like for that to be okay for me to take it down. I'm a single female. I don't want to sign up all year when I live there 10 months. So when you're renting, I think that needs to be up. And if you live here, or maybe you could make that a homestead rule. If you're homesteaded here, you can take it down. However you want to do it or whatever is best, just for safety reasons, I think that that's a must because I'm not leaving my sign up. It's just not a good thing.
Which document are you talking about?
Your rental certificate for saying.
No, I mean that you're reading from that you see problems with.
Oh, this is,
Does it say memo at the top?
let me look. It just has city council special meeting.
Okay.
I can give you the pages if you like.
We're aware of problems, and we are meeting with our attorney about those, so thank you for bringing this up.
And clarification on who's drawing the floor plan and escape route. Are we just sketching that out? Or does somebody have to come and, are the fire people doing that? Or, and then the parking, I do understand, because you can't have like I let them use my garage, but you can't have that chock full of stuff and then say it's a parking space, so I get that. But clarification on, do we draw that for you? And
You can contact Kelly Dessat tomorrow.
okay.
Anything else?
No, I've been repetitive enough.
Okay, thank you.
Clark Gruber, 305 Erie Street, Iowa Shoveling. I'm here to, I guess, speak about 12C, which is new. I can tell you, I've got about 12 years' worth of experience in your seats. I know it's a really hard position to be in, to be part of an executive and a professional board. You've hired a professional manager. We have that form of government here. We don't have a strong mayor. We have a city manager form of government. I've worked with 4 different city managers over the years, and I've probably sat with about 15 different council members over that time and mayors. We have a professional board. Asking what is being looked for by Councilperson Hosley in 12C is micromanagement. You guys are not micromanagers. Never micromanaged a manager before. I've never seen this. This is something you really have to think about. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't think it's coming from Joe, and I don't think it's coming from George. I don't think it's coming from Letitia. Don't think it's coming from Andy. Don't think it's coming from Jeff. Don't think it's coming from Wendy. I think it's coming from the individual who has put a large number of FOIAs at the city, more than any other individual, I believe. And I'm not sure if that's a true statement. I am getting that information, though, through a FOIA request. So please, be a professional board. You've got a professional manager. Let that individual do the work that you're giving them that role and that job. Don't force this individual to email you on these particular subjects, on every single email. Let them do their role. Let Kelly Dessat do her role. Let every other professional manager we have here in the city that we hire do their professional roles. Think long and hard about what you're asking an individual to do. I've never seen it before in the years of experience that I've had, and I've probably attended over 500 meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? If not, we will move on. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through G?
I would move to approve consent agenda items B through G and remove A for further discussion.
Okay, we're moving A to,
If there's support.
oh, I'm sorry. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Okay, there's now a motion to approve the consent agenda, items B through G. All in favor say yes.
Roll call.
Roll call. Yep.
Oh, roll call. I'm so sorry. I was doing
I
so
gotcha.
well for so long.
And you are able to take the item just directly after the consent agenda as well. You don't have to place it somewhere else on the agenda, so if that's up to you. But roll call is Hasley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes. And we'll move 8A to, how about 9C?
Do you want to handle it right now?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. So that is approved. We're moving on to new business. Number 9, the city council will be asked to consider the approval of the following special event applications. A, special event 2025-03, St. Basil's Youth Festival to be held on July 12th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the south end of South Beach. And B, special event 2024-04, Light Up the Lake Fireworks to be held July 3rd, 2025, starting at approximately 10:30 p.m. from the North Pier. Is there a motion?
Point of question first, shouldn't that be special event 2025-04 for Light Up the Lake Fireworks as opposed to 2024?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve special event 2025-03 and special event 2025-04 as read by the mayor.
Second.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The special events are approved. Moving on to 9C. Mary?
Yes, so I would move to amend the minutes of the January 6th with regard to the lifeguards, inserting after the motion and before the vote that Kate is to note that when meeting with USLA, ensure they know to use their expert judgment and have discretion to tell us what is deemed necessary at all 7 beaches under option 1.
I do want to be clear that that was not part of the motion, but that was part of the discussion. And I think it is also germane to talk about, I know, Member Hasley, you said that the RFP is not still active. It is still active. The link is still active on my blog.
No,
And the scope of work, if I may continue, the scope of work that was in the RFP did share that the consultant shall provide the city with proposed consulting fees, including but not limited to a base fee / retainer amount, the hourly rates for work above the initial base fee and retainer, and any travel fees or costs for the research and presentation of the following topics. Item 1 said staffing levels, and it shared a recommendation of the appropriate number of open water lifeguards needed for coverage at option 1, which was all 7 beaches and access points, or, and this is quite germane, a subset as deemed appropriate. And then, of course, option 2. So I think that's already been covered by the RFP, which was submitted by the group. So if you want to include that into as just discussion, that's up to this body, but the motion actually did not include that language.
But
Thank you.
the discussion afterwards did, and the minutes reflect what was agreed to be done, and you said that you would. And I didn't say the RFP of the lifeguards wasn't working. I said the RFP of dwelling place was not working when you clicked on that link, so that was a confusion on your part. Support for my request is in the minutes, in the video at about 1 hour to 1:04, and the reason I requested this is because the staff memo for this agenda item failed to include the all parts of option 2 to make it appear that all 7 beaches had to have lifeguards. So to avoid any confusion as to what option 1 and option 2 were, when looking at the minutes of the meeting, and because you said you would make note of that to have that discussion, I thought it was pertinent.
I just want to say that Megan is trained in being a clerk and, taking minutes. The minutes reflect what was voted. not what was said, what was done.
And as I've said, that the minutes can reflect what actions agreed to be taken, and the city manager agreed that she would be ensuring that USLA knew that it was their discretion to identify what was deemed necessary for all 7 beaches. I just do not want our options to be, I want our option, that I want the expert to have full discretion and realize they have full discretion to opine on what they believe is necessary for all 7 beaches, which includes deeming it not necessary to have lifeguards at all 7 beaches, but a subset thereof.
And that's what it states under scope of work at number 1 staffing levels.
Yes, and if that had been properly incorporated into the staff memo, I would not have made this motion, but the staff memo left that part off,
Well, now you know.
so.
Well, is there a motion? Is there something to be is there some action that you are asking for the council to do, and is there a second?
So the motion was to add that in the minutes,
Is there a
after the
second?
motion, there was, insert after the motion, discussion point, Kate is to note that when meeting with USLA, ensure they know to use their expert judgment and have discretion to tell us what is deemed necessary at all 7 beaches under option 1.
Megan, do we include discussions like that in the minutes?
It just depends on if it was pertinent to the motion, if it needs further clarification.
Thank you. I don't hear a second. Okay, the motion fails. Moving on.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting as presented.
Second?
All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? The matches, the
Minutes.
the minutes pass and are approved. Thank you. Okay, now, number 10. Let me see. The city council will be asked to consider the following actions regarding the 2021-425 agreement. And Kate, would you like to speak first before the public hearing?
Yes, I can. So this is proposed a First Amendment to the Development Cooperation Agreement that the City Council approved on November 15th with the South Haven Charter Township. What that was is it pulled a number of parcels into the city for a limited amount of time to utilize some of the city's toolbox, economic development toolbox tools that we have available to us that the township does not. And so we executed that, and so did the township. They have to have a public hearing, and so we pulled those parcels into the city. Since that time, and we've been using our tools, but there has been a housing project that has come forward, and between the City of South Haven, the South Haven Charter Township, and the Van Buren's Senior Services, we're trying to get a 53-unit senior housing project adjacent to the Senior Services on a parcel that was pulled into the city via the 425 agreement. We're asking for this resolution to be approved by the City Council, which amends this agreement, this 425. This is a First Amendment, which allows this parcel alone to go back to the township so that they can move forward with this housing project. We want to get there with all expediency, and some of their processes just seem to work faster than ours. We're also in the middle of a master plan update, which inhibits some of our processes to be amenable to their particular development.
I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? The public hearing is now open. Anyone is welcome to come forward and talk.
Hello, I'm Diane Ragosi, the Executive Director at Senior Services of Van Buren County. And I would just like to say that we have been working on this project for about 2 years now. And the city and the township and Senior Services and another nonprofit who is hopefully going to purchase the property from us and develop the housing unit has been working on this very hard, and I really appreciate the work that the township and the city have worked closely together to make this happen. We do have a deadline of April for this grant, for the MSHDA grant, to get this through. So I appreciate that Kate has taken the liberty to try and move this back to the township.
Anybody else?
Good evening. I am George Ebright, and I live at 214 Superior Street. I want to compliment the City Council for its decisions about lifeguards.
Oh, excuse me. This is a public hearing for the land adjacent to the Senior Services Building. I'm sorry. Anybody else?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The special hearing is closed. Now,
I would move to approve Resolution 2025-06, a resolution amending the November 21st, 2021 Development Corporation Agreement under Public Act 425 of 1984 with the South Haven Charter Township.
Second.
And Mayor, before we take a vote, I just want to note that inside the packet, we did have a different date on there, so we will amend the resolution to show that this is the date that the resolution was approved of, January 21st.
thank you. Any discussion? Mary?
And Kate, that also applies to sub E, that identifies February 3rd. It's not just the date of it's not just the top of the resolution and the bottom of the resolution, but also subsection E of the recitals.
Of the resolution?
Yep.
Which
Page
states,
73.
after due consideration, the governing bodies of the city and the township are amenable to the developer's request and have prepared a proposed First Amendment to the Development Cooperation Agreement, the First Amendment to facilitate the same. A copy of the First Amendment is attached to this resolution marked as attachment
Kate,
A.
it's wrong page. Page 74 of the resolutions. I'm sorry, page 73 of the agenda packet is the resolution, and sub E says
There's two E's.
it's under the recitals, as I said.
I see. I see that there is two E's, so we'll make that to an F, and we'll make sure that February 3rd is January 21.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
And does the First Amendment agreement need to be changed with regard to the date? You had March 6th in there, but I believe that needs to be changed because that's not 30 days.
I will consult with the city attorney. I'd rather not just change it on the fly, but again, by the 425 Act, it has to be 30 days from both public hearings, so we'll have to determine what that is.
But does passing this resolution with that date in there, would we have to come back? I'm just trying to avoid having to come back to correct errors from this resolution that we're passing.
Then perhaps the council may wish to amend the resolution to allow for the city manager and city attorney to make all necessary adjustments to the date to cooperate with the 425 agreement.
There we go. It's just we've had to redo a resolution because of errors, so. So I would amend the motion to authorize the city manager and legal counsel to make other adjustments necessary to comply with the 425 agreement legislation. So.
Second.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The motion passes?
That was the amended motion, now the motion.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor?
Right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the resolution with that amendment.
Okay. You want to make the motion?
We already did.
It's
Okay,
been made.
so do we have to vote on this now?
Yep.
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? That motion passes too. Okay, now we are at number 11. The city council will be asked to recommend the planning commission review temporary signs as part of the future zoning amendments. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. When we reviewed our zoning ordinance for adoption, the new zoning ordinance for adoption, there were a number of future zoning amendments that were proposed by the Planning Commission for future topics by the Planning Commission. Of that list, which I've included in your packet, which is on page 82, really the only one that is timely is the review of signs by the Planning Commission. Typically, or I'm sorry, in particular, the primary concerns are temporary signs, in particular residential districts, concern about the number of signs, the length of time displayed. Commercial property owners have also expressed concern over the difference in regulations between commercial and residential temporary sign regulations. So this is what we would be sending off to the Planning Commission for their review on that. I would note that I know a lot of people like to call temporary signs political signs or whatever signs. Because of our content-based neutral law that we have to have because of a court case, it's either a temporary sign or it's a permanent sign. So that's what's being requested of the city council.
I would move the city council to request the planning commission to consider amendments to the sign ordinance such in the following order. I would address any signs in the yards of short-term rentals as part of the short-term rental ordinance amendments. I would define permanent and temporary signs to clearly distinguish between the two. And I would regulate between residential use and non-residential uses, looking at the use of the property to address concerns that the residents have raised and has not been addressed.
I have a question real quick. I know that at our meeting on January 16th, we talked about setting an STR work group to address STR ordinances. And I know that's kind of on the next item agenda, but I'm a little confused that we are directing the Planning Commission to undertake an STR review when we're also asking a work group to be doing that review. So are we asking two different bodies to be doing two different reviews of the same thing?
No, it would be that the Planning Commission would appreciate that regulation of signs in STR yards would be part of the short-term rental ordinance amendments. And so that, I could see that potentially entering into temporary signs, considering we are being told that a wooden sign in a yard that just wiggles is a temporary sign versus a permanent sign. So I think the ordinance as it currently exists lacks clarity between what is temporary and what is permanent. And so looking at only temporary signs is only addressing half of the problem that the residents have been raising. And the Planning Commission may appreciate, this gives the Planning Commission discretion to not address short-term signs on short-term rental properties if the city council is going to address it as part of short-term rentals. But if the city council is not going to address it as part of short-term rentals, then the Planning Commission could.
Can I just say something? She said that the Planning Commission would appreciate this, but who brought this item to the agenda? How did this get on here?
It was requested by Member Hosley.
Any other planning commissioners?
No.
Did the chair of the plan, excuse me, I'm speaking. Did the chair of the planning commission contact you and say, I'd like this on?
No.
Thank you.
This was provided, this was part of the zoning ordinance adoption last fall, and this has been asked by Member Hosley to be put on this agenda.
Thank you.
And, Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
So when the zoning ordinance was put forward to the city council, the motion for that included, and I'm navigating to the minutes because I did not have any notice that this would be challenged.
We didn't have any notice that you were going to add on to this. So join the club.
When, my mouse is not cooperating. There we go. When the zoning ordinance was set forward, the motion was to put forward the new zoning ordinance and the list of items from the Planning Commission for City Council's review. And here we go. Okay, moved by Heinig, seconded by Sherman, that Planning Commission recommend to the City Council that this draft be approved as amended. Moved by Hasley, seconded by Campbell, to amend the motion to include the zoning, or to motion include that the zoning ordinance include a timeline in which we will readdress items that have been identified. A roll call was taken. Yes, Sherman, Barney, Campbell, Gruber, Hasley, Nichols, Polk, Stegman. No, Heinig. The motion carried. And the motion as, the amended motion was unanimous.
You're cherry picking one thing out.
No, that list is what was added and was included in the new zoning ordinance when it came in front of the city council originally. Staff never included an item for city council to review it. I brought that to Kate's attention, being the liaison to city council and knowing that Planning Commission wanted that list reviewed, and it now is finally on the city council agenda.
My concern is that we got the agenda, we're looking at this, it's one sentence, and now things are added that people in the public had no access to. Do you have any more comments?
The information that came from the Planning Commission was to look at temporary signs, in particular residential districts, but there have been concerns that have been raised from folks who have commercial properties about what is a temporary sign and how many can they have. And this has been something that's been kind of bubbling up. So if council wants to direct the Planning Commission to undertake a review on commercial signs, or rather temporary signs, I think that's appropriate. I think that there is a lot of work. We are always looking to update our ordinances. Signs happen to be something we've heard about. Whether or not it has STR on it or not, I do think that we are, in item 12, to be talking about the STR work group. But having the Planning Commission look at temporary signs, if that's part of their review, it's not a bad idea. They are currently doing the master plan update. That's why a number of these items that are on this proposed future zoning amendments is not germane, because there are certain things that are already being talked about as part of the master plan update, or they're part of coastal grants, or they're being worked on by another body. So this is the only topic that is pertinent and could be reviewed by the Planning Commission.
Is there a second? There's no second?
So I will.
And if there is a motion, could we have a restatement of that? Because right now, I do know what we placed on the agenda, but I know there was some discussion. So if there is a motion, could we have that clearly stated, please?
I would move.
That motion died. There was no second. Okay.
And I'm making a new motion that the Planning Commission review temporary signs and distinguish between temporary and permanent, particularly in residential districts, and commercial use in residential districts with regards to signs.
Do you have that, Megan? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. George?
So on page 82 of the agenda packet is a table that I'm assuming is coming from the Planning Commission with their additional things to consider in the future. And so it looks to me like when the row that talks about signs, it does a pretty good job of explaining the issue. And so it looks to me like this is already on the agenda, or it's already on the list of things for the Planning Commission to look at. Mary, as the liaison to the Planning Commission, you can advocate however you want for that body to do what they want with this information. I guess I don't see the need for us to further give them any more guidance. To me, this is adequate.
And that is acceptable, appreciated. And my understanding is that the chairman wanted to ensure that the city council was aware of this list, otherwise it may not have been. And this provides an opportunity to the city council to supplement it, how the city council members believe slight tweaks might make the planning commission's review more efficient. And that is why, after hearing so much about the lack of clarity between what is a permanent sign and what is a temporary sign, and learning of the fact that the large wooden signs that are in short-term rental properties being termed temporary, I am concerned that there is lack of clarity of what actually is permanent and what is temporary, because a permanent sign is not defined in the zoning ordinance. And if a wooden sign that can wiggle is a temporary sign, but it's on 4x4s, and the sign itself is 1 by 2 feet, to me, that is not clearly a temporary sign. That seems much more permanent. And it would be nice for the Planning Commission to have a robust discussion on what does this community believe is a temporary or a permanent sign? Because right now, I believe that's a very gray area, and it should be much more clear.
Comment.
So you make good points. It seems like those points you can bring up at Planning Commission when this item comes up.
And I and others have brought up points that have not been addressed. And that is why I have brought this up and request support from city council members that the Planning Commission should look at not just temporary signs, but what are permanent signs, because they are treated differently in the zoning ordinance.
And I would encourage you to go back to your planning commission and work together so there's a majority that can do this at the planning commission and get your support there. That's what I would do.
Well, the policy setting body is the city council. And the city council sets the policy for where we want our ordinances to go. And then the Planning Commission works to meet those policies set by City Council. Because the zoning ordinance does not define permanent, because we have heard much concern about permanent versus temporary, I believe it would be the most efficient use of everyone's time if City Council supported or did not support, so the Planning Commission knows where to focus, on discussion of not just temporary signs, but what is a permanent sign. So it's clear that that needs to be discussed, and then they can make their recommendation for city council to accept, modify, or send back, or reject.
So what I hear is there's a motion on the floor to have the planning commission review temporary signs, clarifying what is temporary, what is permanent in residential and commercial districts. What I haven't heard is this board making a policy decision on that. That's the only motion that's on the floor.
So there hasn't been a second?
There has not. But I also want to make clear that there hasn't been a policy decision or recommendation from this body. It's just to ask
Right.
the planning commission to review this item.
Right. Okay.
But
is there a second?
There was.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
Well, if I could just say, I believe that the policy is that if the city council wants the planning commission to look at not just what temporary signs are, but what are permanent signs, which is what the motion is intended to do, that would be setting policy, because permanent signs are not defined in the zoning ordinance.
Roll call?
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
No.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
No.
Hasley,
Yes.
and Brown.
No.
Motion carries.
Next, the city council will be asked to consider the following regarding short-term rentals. A, accept the 2025 short-term rental snapshot report. And B, approve a city attorney memo for the short-term rental work group established at the January 16th, 2025 special meeting. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. By ordinance, we are to draft a STR snapshot report by January 15th. We sometimes don't get that to City Council until the second, we usually do get it to council in the second meeting of January, but we do prepare it by the 15th, which is required by the ordinance. This is a snapshot report that is required by the existing ordinance, which, as we all know, has not changed. And what this does is it sets the number of STR business permits that would be allowed in the forthcoming year. However, as we all know, we are under an existing moratorium for business units. We have been preparing this snapshot report the same way we have been doing it since its inception. And what this does is it represents our obligation under the ordinance.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Mary.
Since 2023, I have been questioning the identification of new housing units, which increases the number of dwelling units that then would potentially qualify for short-term rentals. In 2023, I thought that the number of short-term rental permits available was overstated by 7, and I provided that to Assistant Manager Griffin Graham and City Council members. Last year, I identified that I thought it was inflated by 2 by looking at the number of new housing units. This year, I believe the number of 35 is 10 more than I would have calculated. And the reason is, and the issue that I've always taken, is that the new housing units is determined by the number of building permits granted. In order to qualify for a short-term rental, you have to have an occupancy permit. In the last year, from January 4th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, that's the end date in this table, there has been an increase of the number of units by 26. But in looking at the granted permits for building and looking at what has been finalized, I see 4 finalized homes. Of those 4, 3 are PUDs. PUDs are backed out. So I see 1 increase in the new homes from January 4th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. However, they've been increased from last year, it was 2,487. This year, it's 2,498. So it has been increased by 11, so 10 more than what it should be. I appreciate that there is a moratorium in place, so no more non-exempt business short-term rentals should be granted. However, if there's any problem with the moratorium extension, I would be remiss if I allowed this short-term rental snapshot report to be accepted where I believe the number of permits is 10 greater than it should be. So I would recommend, I would move that the city council request that this short-term snapshot report be put on hold if the moratorium, if short-term rental permits are to be granted, that this is recalculated looking at the number of homes with occupancy to ensure that business short-term rental permits are not granted in excess of what they should be.
Is there a second?
Can I ask a question?
Let's do a second first, then we'll have discussion.
Okay.
That's second.
And since I don't know,
Okay.
and I can only assume what she is saying is correct, then I'm going to have to second it.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No, Letitia already seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Second, and we can discuss now.
Okay.
Kate, can you answer Joe's question?
I'm sorry, what is the question?
The question is, do you believe the report as is accurate, or do you believe what Mary has investigated is accurate, or do you have to take time to figure it out?
I believe that the report is accurate, and quite honestly, the ordinance doesn't state that we have to count certificates of occupancy, so we've been doing this the same way, and moreover, I kind of think that the issue is moot. I don't believe this body is looking to issue any short-term rental ordinance permits. I do understand that since we are looking at continued work on the ordinances, I'm going to be bringing a moratorium extension on the February 3rd, so quite honestly, do you all want to waste time debating about what the short-term rental snapshot report says, or do we want to move on and understand that this is just information to keep under your hats?
Let's get to work. Okay, let's have a roll call, please.
Comment. I made the motion, I should get to comment. The report, so in response to Councilman Reeser's question, the report is accurate if you look at just building permits. You don't look at occupancy and you don't look at the number of new homes built. Is the number of possible short-term rentals based on the actual number of new housing units correct? I believe no. As I said, I am reluctant to accept a report where I believe the number of short-term rental permits is exaggerated. I do not believe that the city council has to accept the report in order for it to be completed. It can be completed, and if we have to issue permits, then we can address it. If we never have to issue permits, then it's done, and we completely move forward without using up any more time.
If I understand you, then you didn't need to say any of that. You could have just voted no, we don't accept it, and we could have moved on to B.
But I wanted other council members to understand what accepting this means is that you potentially allow at least 10 more permits if there's a problem with the moratorium. By not accepting it, it leaves the door open to readdress issues to ensure that short-term rental permits are not granted when they should not be based on the number of new dwelling units.
Joe, who's your city manager? Is your city manager Kate, or is your city manager Mary?
I don't think that's a fair question. I think what the real question is, can a city manager not have the number right because she looked at it different? Or has Mary spent the time and energy to look at it and is right? And all I care about as a city council person is doing what's right for the community and making a right decision. So that's why I try first to ask Kate what she thinks.
Yes.
Now, the other question is it a moot point? Will it make any real difference? Or can we not approve it and get it back in time and double-check the numbers? Because I don't want to miss this whole short-term rental ordinance over a couple digits.
I don't want to delay this anymore. People want this to move ahead.
If I may, the ordinance kind of sets out what the annual report should say and when it has to be provided. And quite honestly, we've been asking council to receive or accept the report, but there really isn't anything that says that you have to. So really, this is a staff compilation of what we have found over the years, showing what has been done, where are the dwelling units, and that, based on building permits, not certificates of occupancy. But moreover, the ordinance doesn't require us to just use certificate of occupancy. So I think that we're hashing out minor details on something, again, that I think is moot. I don't believe this board is looking to issue short-term rental permits. If that is indeed the case, then if you want us to come back with a more detailed report, I'm happy to do so if indeed you're looking to issue short-term rental permits. Otherwise, I'm just trying to be very mindful of our resources and staff time in getting our items and our objectives, which there are 3 that I'm working towards. We're trying to work and getting those provided to City Council, one of them being our short-term rental ordinances, the rewrite. So I guess what I'm asking for is, I know it writes on the agenda to accept the 2025 snapshot report. You don't actually have to by ordinance. If you don't want to, then don't. But the report has been provided to you from staff per the ordinance. So I guess at that point, what would you like to do?
Thank you. Okay,
May I make a comment?
go ahead.
Thank you. Kate, I appreciate everything that you just said, and I hear that, and thank you for the report. Understand what Mary and Joe are saying too, and that we don't want to tie our hands to the number that's on there necessarily if that happens to come up, which it shouldn't. So I feel like you're giving us an out and not accepting this report. We don't have to, and then our hands are not tied to that number there.
Does voting no on this impede progress?
No.
Okay. Roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Reeser?
No.
Sleeper?
Nope.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Oops, sorry. Arnold?
No.
And Husley?
No.
Onuki?
No.
And Brown?
Yes.
Motion fails.
Okay, B, need a motion to approve the city attorney memo for the short-term rental work group established at the January 16th special meeting.
I move to approve city attorney memo for the short-term rental work group established at the January 16th, 2025 special meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I should mention that this is a restatement of what the council directed the city
Right.
attorney to do on January 16th. We did note after that meeting that to have frank discussions with the work group, it was determined that provided that it's recommended that the meetings not be held in public. We know that we've had quite a bit of discussions, and we do want to make sure that in the 4 weeks that we've been allowed and allocated to bring drafts back to the city council, we're asking that these work group discussions be held with just the 5, not open to the public, because we will be bringing those draft ordinances back to this city council for an entire review with obviously public notice. And when I say public notice, obviously open to the public.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Mary?
I cannot support this process because it is, in my opinion, putting the cart before the horse. It does not, this memo, which, I mean, the memo does not provide that the options with the risks come back to city council for review. City council is the one who sets, as we heard last week from Attorney Eberly, city council decides which options to select with the related risk. This memo is putting that in the committee, which is composed of staff and city council. That is usurping the right of the city council to select which options. If the options that the committee, the majority of the committee select, are not what the majority of the city council wants, and we spend all that time drafting, then we have wasted those 4 weeks. It is much more prudent of time and finances for the work group to meet with the legal counsel, evaluate the options and risks, make a recommendation to city council, and on February 3rd, city council can vote on which options with the associated risks in closed session to proceed. Once we have those options solidified, then everything else should fall in line. That is not diving into the weeds. That is setting policy, which rests with the 7 of us.
However
not with the
council
work
wants to
group.
do it, but if you're going to take a pause in the middle, I can't guarantee 4 weeks. So however council wants to do it, that's fine with staff and the work group. But if you expect us to turn around something in 4 weeks, it's not going to be in the middle of it, take a break, and let's regroup. Or let's say, for and against. If council wants to do that, that's fine, but I cannot guarantee that we'll be meeting with the 4-week deadline.
Any other discussion?
Well,
Oh, excuse me, I'm letting other people talk. Any other comments? George?
Well, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I feel that what happened at the last meeting was that city council was saying, let's give it to this small working group to work it out and then bring it back to city council for getting back in the process at that point. And so I think this is workable, and I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. Letitia, any comments?
No comment.
I would add, Bishop Wilkins begged us in his comments to get this done in 4 weeks. I don't want to do anything that's going to not get us there in 4 weeks. And so I would
think
like to
that was me.
accept this as
I think
Bishop
that
Wilkins.
was me that asked for the 4 weeks.
Oh, okay, it would be excellent.
Okay.
And then in his comments, he
You get the
seconded
credit.
that. Excellent. Well, I wasn't at
Any
that.
other
That was actually
comments?
part of my motion
Mary?
was the 4 weeks, but Councilman Reeser had a.
I agree with what Mary said in her rationale, but at some point, we have to decide whether we're going to move ahead
Yes.
or take a risk and slowing things down. And I know you don't think that's going to happen with this, but I am afraid of that. And I'll tell you, there's certain things I'm willing to negotiate at the cost of getting this done versus any chance of not. So, Kate, you're telling us what could happen with timing. George, I think what you said is correct. That's what I took away with this small group. So I support the way it is here and move ahead
Thank
with
you.
the group this week.
Can we have a roll call?
Further discussion. So my concern and what I've shared is that these terms are not really any different than what we sent a year ago. And what we got back was not consistent with what the majority expected to see. The terms are vague and open to interpretation. So reducing the number of STRs in our city, does that, do we set a bottom number? Unrelated to new builds and demolitions, do we set a static number? Do we have it as a percentage of new builds? Do we decrease it in R1A and R1B? Do we allow it to be in CVBs? Do we allow overlays? I mean,
The motion,
The group will do that.
excuse me, is to approve a city attorney memo for the short-term rental work group established at the January 16th, 2025 special meeting. That's it.
But what I'm saying is.
Yes, I understand your concerns.
No, you do not. And you're cutting me off. Please let me continue. Preserving the character of neighborhoods in which STRs are located. So we have yet to have discussion of unlawful STRs. And again, Councilman Reeser, you had indicated you wanted a bottom number. Is that something that everybody wants? Because I don't want to have staff deciding whether there's a bottom number or not. That is something city council sets. And ensuring STR occupancy levels. and more importantly, enforcement was not included in that, and I think that's a key aspect. Yes.
I just have a quick question, Councilwoman. Can, all the things that you're talking about, can that be covered in the work group or
Well,
small group?
So my concern is that with the work group, who has a vote to decide what's going to be done?
Okay, so Kate.
The work group is intended to cover all of this. Obviously, we have a zoning ordinance that we have to do and the regulatory ordinance that was kind of started, but we haven't finished. That is the purpose of this work group to get done. We obviously know we have a lot of discussion. We also have a couple ordinances floating out there, understanding where council wants to land. But we also want to do that legally, which minimizes the risk to this council and this city. So I think we have a very good handle on what this council is looking for, and I think that's the purpose of the STR work group. We've set out 6 potential dates where we can get this done in 4 weeks, and that's what we're intending to do.
Thank you.
And who has a vote on if there, of all the options, who is going to be voting on which options
That
to
group
pursue?
will not be voting.
The group is putting together ordinances
And you bring it to
for
us, right?
this council to, agree- to come and review. If the council doesn't like it, we can amend it. Again, we're trying to get you something where it gets us to 80%, so we can get something on the books, because we've been working on this for some time. I think that there's some fatigue, not only with this council, with staff, and the community, but I think we want to get this done. I think we know where you all want to land.
Wendy?
If there's an opportunity from it coming from the work group to us where, I don't know if it's more of a placeholder or just, like if we did have a bottom number, we've talked about bottom numbers before. It might not be what the group picks and brings back, but if those little things, if the majority of council agrees on something, if those are easy enough to switch out so that it is decided by the council, I think that would be the key.
Sorry to cut you off, but yes, we've been, as you've seen with some of our ordinances, we put some blanks in there with some highlighted portions, and that's where council gets to fill in if we're on the right track, right? If we're not, then let's go ahead and start some amendments, but that's what we've done before, and I believe that council is the one who sets those numbers, so that's what we're looking for. But if we don't know from that group, because this is more of a 7-member decision, then that's what we do.
Okay.
Joe?
I have complete faith in you, Mary, that you will bring up those points and that they will be discussed. I also have faith that George and the 2 staff members will have an open discussion about it. And ultimately, you made a great point. Who makes the final decision? It comes back to us, and we as a group will make the final decision. So I appreciate everything you're saying, and those points I agree with wholeheartedly. I just want to move this along, have the 4 of you come back to us and let us vote, and we can do it quickly.
So it's clear that if there's multiple options, all the options come back
Yes.
for the city council to decide. But you understand that could increase the amount of drafting required for the various options. And that's my concern.
I understand the risk.
George?
Based on this schedule, we have 3 meetings before, 3 subcommittee meetings before the next city council meeting. If we get into the subcommittee and we figure out we need guidance from this council, we can bring some stuff back to the first meeting in February and get that.
That works for me.
Okay, let's have a roll call.
If I may, just
Oh.
make sure that we're talking about having these subcommittee meetings, I shouldn't say subcommittee, this STR work group outside of the public, we're just trying to get going.
As the memo was written.
So let's make sure what we're voting on. We're voting right now whether to accept it as written.
This is, yes,
Yes,
approve
so
a city
yes
attorney
means we
amendment.
accept the way it's written.
Yes. Okay,
Ready? All right. Sleeper?
Yes.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Hasley?
Yes.
Onuki?
Yes.
Reeser?
Yes.
Brown?
yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Next, the city council will be asked to receive an update from public.
Nope, agenda
We have
item C.
item C, 1
Oh, I'm
and 2.
sorry. Okay, item C.
So, Madam Mayor?
Go ahead.
Having brought this, I brought this request because there have been situations where we have asked for clarification and it has not come forward. And in listening to Attorney Eberly last week and looking at minutes from the Planning Commission and appreciating the frustration with the zoning ordinance for short-term rentals, there appears to be some disconnect. And I thought that this, having the city council as a whole, and that is my preference, to be copied on emails with legal counsel for these 3 priorities would help identify disconnects sooner so time is not wasted. For example, from the September 5th Planning Commission meeting minutes, Attorney Bloom was giving a list of 8 items for him to come back with to Planning Commission with. Density separateness, should we consider an overlay district, ambiguity regarding attached condos, lawfully in existence, should there be a floor, how should, and et cetera. Items 6 through 8 were addressed, items 1 through 5 were not, and we've discussed this before. At the November 7th meeting, when Attorney Bloom was there for the public hearing on the short-term rental, Commissioner Campbell expressed concerns with legally in existence language. Bloom stated it was determined to be best language. It was determined to be the best language to use. Hasley spoke about the 2016 ordinance, the number of off-street parking spaces required, and STR regulations under G zoning compliance, expressed concerns with lawfully in existence phrase. Bloom explained that the phrase lawfully in existence has been addressed several times by the attorneys, and it is believed that there is no other legal analysis to be done. Suggested that if city disagrees, then special legal counsel could be brought in. As we heard last week, city council makes these decisions, and these decisions were never for a vote in city council to mind specifically addressed. We sent the ordinance to Planning Commission for those to be evaluated, but according to Bloom, it's been addressed several times by the attorneys. Moreover, Commissioner Campbell inquired about the cap, its attrition down to 0, and the possibility of a floor. Bloom explained that the city council did consider a floor, but ultimately decided against it for various reasons. There was no vote on a floor. So this is why there's a disconnect, and only city staff have access to legal counsel. So to try and keep things moving forward for our 3 priority items, it would be the most transparent. It's not micromanaging, but when we have these disconnects, it would be most transparent if city council were copied on these. Another example is when city manager was when I inquired of her about sending amendments I had proposed after listening to people, and she said she did send them to legal counsel. But then at the Planning Commission meeting, legal counsel said, yes, he received them, but was told not to review them. They're just, to have transparent communication and to appreciate all the interworkings of a very busy staff, it would be helpful to have involvement of the city council, especially when it's affecting our policy. And that is why I have made these motions.
Kate.
I'm a little concerned. I'm a little dismayed by this motion. I do believe that I'm a professional person. I've been professionally guiding you and providing management experience since 2020. So what I hear is micromanagement, quite honestly. No disrespect to you, but this is quite a bit of an overreach. And I do have concerns about council members. I'm happy to share with you what I do have, but I'm a little concerned that if I'm to share this out or to share it just with you, are we then having a conversation amongst all of us on email about what the city attorney is supposed to do when that should be decided by all of you in an open meeting? I'm just concerned by what you're asking for is really to kind of tell the city attorney what to do and not have me do it, which is really the purpose of funneling through the city manager. Yes, the city attorney responds to and carries out the will of the city council, which is a seven-member body. So I'm here to do what you all want, but quite honestly, I know that there's a lot of volume that's coming to your inboxes now. Do you want to see every email that's going out from my office to the city attorney's office? Do you want to weigh in and let me know what you're thinking about that? And then how do I take 7 different opinions and do my job effectively if you all disagree? So that I put all my activities on hold until we come to a body? Because quite honestly, sometimes I have to make executive decisions. That's what you pay me for. So you let me know what you'd like me to do, because honestly, you gave me a contract. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to execute it. But I'm just a little surprised that we want to sit and talk about what Kate can and can't do.
Joe.
Kate, you made your case well. And having thought about this, I now agree with you. I think this is my opinion, what has precipitated this, what has caused this to even be discussed, is the short-term rentals is such a highly contested and discussed and bantered about so much that we're all starting to be worried and looking over our shoulder, and what is it that we don't know that's going on. And what is especially frustrating is to go and get a new law firm that I had high hopes for, and at the very last minute, bring in an underling lawyer, a younger lawyer with less experience at the last minute that we had to, or we're going to have to bring up to speed. So my problem is suddenly we're relying on a lawyer that didn't have all the background, doesn't have this, and that just puts more of a cloud over this whole issue. So unfortunately, you're getting the results of this cloud over other issues falling on you. Quite honestly, it's not fair. And either you're going to succeed or fail on what you do, and not on my watching every little thing you do. So I will take back, and I won't support having everything copied. I'm sorry, Mary, but I want to give you the benefit of doubt on this and not hamstring you with having to do what would be very, very difficult and will take away from other things you're trying to do for the city. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
My comments. There's reasons that only the city manager contacts the lawyers, and that is so that we aren't contacting them individually. We aren't. Apparently, Mary wrote her own piece of legislation and expected the lawyers to review it. That's not transparent. That's not our role. I'm fearful if we start sharing all these emails that one of us will inadvertently breach attorney-client privilege. That there was a comment about the council people don't like the volume of emails we're getting. It's just one council member that's sending all the emails that are clogging our inboxes. The new lawyers, well, yeah, there is no disconnect. Anything I've ever asked has been answered. I don't see a cloud over us. The cloud is, if there's a cloud, it's a cloud of anger because we're taking so long, because we're doing things like this to try and micromanage the staff when they don't need to be micromanaged.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just have one other comment, is last week, it took a discussion between Attorney Eberly and myself for him to.
Where did this conversation take place?
Right here.
Okay.
For me to explain to him the issue between how the cap was set in the ordinance that came back from Attorney Bloom, and how the bottom number that many of us have discussed as wanting to have in the ordinance, he did not appreciate that. And that has been requested. It was requested at Planning Commission and was ignored. It was requested through City Council and was not addressed. And Mr. Eberly had not even appreciated it. So that is why I am concerned that there is a disconnect. Why what transpired or did not transpire at Planning Commission did not address concerns that we were hearing from residents, from amongst ourselves at comments, and maybe this is enough to get communication more clear. If that's what this does, excellent. I don't want any more email, but I don't want more time wasted, and I want more efficiency. And that is why I did this. Do not mean any disrespect, but the answers that Attorney Bloom gave us in Planning Commission, the lack of appreciation of the cap by Mr. Eberly, I don't know how many times we're going to have to repeat ourselves and redo this. I'm hopeful that the work group will resolve those issues, being face-to-face, and if so, then wonderful. But we should not have had all these requests that Planning Commission go unanswered and requests of us go unanswered. And again, I hope the work group helps that go forward smoothly.
Could we have a roll call, please?
We do not have a motion currently.
Oh, there's no motion on Mary's amendment. The motion dies. Moving on.
No, we had a discussion for that, and I think it was very helpful for us to move forward.
Okay. Now it is time for the update from Public Works Director Dana Berg.
Well, good evening, everyone. I appreciate everybody's time today to get an update from Public Works. As most everyone here has noticed, there is a real Michigan winter this season. So aside from last 2 years, we've had very mild winters. Crews have been very busy keeping up with snow removal throughout town. We field a lot of questions throughout the day, almost every day, regarding snow removal and how we do it and where we do it. And so I did just want to reemphasize for folks that, our priorities are the roads, making sure they're passable and safe when we do get snow. Then we also work on the downtown sidewalk areas because we own that space and want to keep that open to the public, and the safe routes to the schools. So those are our 3 priority areas. And when we get back-to-back snow events, it's a lot of our effort to keep up with that. And so sometimes we don't quite get out to all the residential streets as soon as we do if we get a light snow. So really these back-to-back events have kind of been more of an effort for us to keep up with. And so when we do get out to those sidewalks and driveways, we appreciate people's patience, but sometimes we don't get to your driveway right away or your sidewalk, and then it's your obligation to clear that away. So just wanted to reemphasize that. But yeah, it's been a real true Michigan winter this year. Cold weather also has given us a handful of water main breaks. So we've had 3 water main breaks last week, and so appreciate the crews getting out there in those conditions to take care of that. In terms of other updates for the department, we had a chance to meet the new police chief and take him around our facility, and really looking forward to working with him on special events and all the other activities throughout town. This is the time of year for us to evaluate status of a lot of our projects, look forward to budgeting for next year. We have a lot of work going on at the bridge right now, as well as the new scour project, which council approved. Appreciate the support there. So we'll have some contractors out there doing some various work and preparing for inspections this year and starting up the bridge in this spring. At the wastewater treatment plant, we do have an update on Shawsa's website. If anyone's interested in more detail on that, our engineers prepared an update on the wastewater treatment project. We did just reach a big milestone in that project where we have the UV system installed in the disinfection for the wastewater. So that will replace our chlorine chemical feed, which is one of the final treatment steps before wastewater is treated and complies with permit requirements and is released to the river. So that was a great new piece of technology that'll help save us in energy costs. It'll help save us in operating costs and chemical supply costs over time. So it's an exciting time out there at the wastewater plant. And if anyone wants more information, we have that linked up on Shawsa's website. Construction on our new elevated water storage tank also resumed back out at the Public Works site. So you may see the crane back up out there, and the tank will continue to be going vertical up out of the ground over the next few months. So along with that, on the electric utility, we've been working through some new regulations coming for the electric utility regarding renewable energy and Michigan's energy assistance legislation. And so we'll have some more discussions on that in the coming months. And we had a new electrical lineman join our team this week, which is very exciting. So the other thing I had for a community reminder, no one's thinking about leaves right now, but as soon as it gets a little warmer and the snow melts, we're going to start getting calls about leaves. So we are going to do a spring pickup as we usually do every year, but it'll be later on in the spring when we get a continuous period of warm weather. And then the other thing people are going to think about when the snow melts is potholes. So wintertime is the time for potholes to develop. And so if folks do see a pothole out there and don't know if we're aware of it or not, feel free to call our office and we'll add it to our list of items. We're constantly out there looking for those and putting in temporary patching for the winter. And then in the spring, we'll come back and do a more permanent patch when the asphalt plants reopen up. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions on projects.
Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for staying up late. You mentioned the plowing, and you did a great job describing that. And then the routes, the east, west, north, south, are all posted on the website.
Correct.
But then, so the public understands, on Monday, you might start at one side of town, and then on Tuesday, you might start on the other. So if the plows come by at different times, that's because you're just trying to be equitable. Is that, my understanding is correct? Is that?
Yeah, that's just part
Sometimes
of
they
our
come by
approach,
my
yeah.
house bright and early, and the other times they're a little later in the afternoon.
Yep. And some of it depends on, like, if we get a back-to-back snow event, too, we've got to put some resources toward moving the snow out of the way because we can only make the snow pile so big. And so we may plow areas, in particular parking lots, and then we may need crews to then spend some time hauling that snow off of those areas so we can keep up with the next storm to plow. So that might account for some of that.
So that'll change the
day-to-day.
times. Okay, and that's just so the people understand. And then thank you, a big thank you to you and your department. Speaking of the spring leaf pickup, I understand during the last fall pickup, the second leaf truck went down. Is that correct? And then, because my wife, who works from home, said that you guys were doing it the hard way with leaves and shovels and a front end loader.
Oh, well,
So thank you. Thank you.
we did mobilize another piece of equipment just to go out there and do that. But yeah, fortunately, we have kept one truck in service. and
Okay.
So we're working on getting both of them up.
So it was just a second mobilization that my wife saw. And
Yeah.
So thanks for doing it the hard way when it got busy.
Sure.
So if people still have leaves in their parkway with snow on top, if they just keep them there, you'll come get them in the spring.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll put out an announcement when we have a continuous period of warm weather. We can get the equipment out there and not clog it up.
Okay, thanks. Wendy?
I don't even know if you can answer this question, but I know Christmas tree pickup has long since passed, but if anybody was late in getting them out or they didn't get picked up because of the snow or holiday, is there still a way to get them picked up?
Kate?
They can be put out. There's just a fee that's assessed because they have special machinery that they do to pick them up. So if they just put them out, I believe it would be on the bulk pickup day. Excuse me, and I would call Best Way to schedule that bulk pickup.
Thank you.
You can also take your Christmas trees to some of the local farms.
That's a good point.
And they will take care of them for you.
Thanks, George.
Feed them to the goats.
Any other questions? My neighbor on Erie said you did a great job getting out and plowing Erie. I know you've done other streets well, but my neighbor told me to tell you that. And great job also clearing the sidewalks too. So thank you so much.
Okay, I'll pass that along to our crews.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now it's time for public comment for items not on the agenda, and you have up to 5 minutes.
That's Mr. Ebright's crew. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm George Ebright, and I live at 214 Superior. I want to compliment the City Council for its decisions about lifeguards and the development of the Overton property. I also wish to share something that happened before the holidays. I was mailing gifts at the post office, and a gentleman I did not know came up to me and said, "I agree with what you say to the city council." Then a woman came up to agree as well. The next day at the hospital, another person told me they agreed with what I tell you, so I will share my thoughts. First, regarding lifeguards, the decision has been made, and now the difficult part is how to pay for them without burdening the shrinking number of permanent residents. My suggestion is to create a $5 to $10 lifeguard surtax for every parking space at the beaches and for all rooms at every STR, B&B, motel, and hotel establishment. Naturally, this cost will be passed along to tourists using the parking lots and the rooms. This surtax should allow the people most protected by lifeguards, tourists, to pay for the lifeguards. Developing the Overton property is a greater challenge, given the environmental problems and the need to ensure that the developer dwelling place of Grand Rapids completes its proposal. To fund these costs, the city should consider, like many cities do, to issue municipal bonds. These are the safest tax-free investment and a way for investors around the country to invest in South Haven's future. I have confidence that the city council and city manager can contract with the proper financial consultants to issue municipal bonds. The third and fourth challenges of 2025 are joined: increase the number of doctors and reverse the trend of diminishing permanent residents. A healthcare system like Bronson will not maintain the number of doctors at the hospital with the declining number of permanent residents. The proof of that is how Bronson has reduced the number of doctors and eliminated visits by specialists who came to South Haven in 2013 when I retired here. Bronson also closed the urgent care facility where one could see a doctor. To accomplish this objective, the reality of fewer permanent residents has to be reversed from its 35-year trend at every census. Otherwise, Bronson and others will just reason that there are fewer patients and patrons for their services. Reversing the declining population of permanent residents is a very difficult problem. The declining population is now lower than 4,000. To reverse this trend before the 2030 census will take work and projects like the Overton development. I know how difficult this need for more permanent residents is from the experience at my church to find a new rector after Reverend Michael Ryan left. It took us 4 years and increased effort and financial support to find Reverend John Wakefield, his wife Abby, who's now a teacher at Maple Grove School, their 3 daughters, and even John's mother and father. The consequence of this effort has been to more than double the number in our congregation than our previous rector when our previous rector left. Our efforts have also resulted in a much greater number of annual pledges of donations, surpassing our goal to support the future. So, South Haven's permanent resident population can and must increase to bring about a brighter future.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Goodwin Hooker, 963 Kalamazoo Street. As I said, my name is Andrea Hooker, and I am a founder of a nonprofit organization called Pretty, dedicated to empowering teen girls with special attention to minority teens in our community. Our mission is to inspire pride and self-sufficiency in our youth, provide them with opportunities to explore diverse careers, and engage them in meaningful activities to foster personal growth and community connections. Today, I'm here to discuss an issue that directly impacts our underprivileged communities and the lack of affordable, accessible recreational opportunities. Research shows that minority youth in low-income neighborhoods are significantly more likely to experience idleness during school breaks due to financial and logistical barriers. This downtime can sometimes lead to negative influences, including high risk of juvenile crime, substance abuse, and disengagement from school. In South Haven, Michigan, the need for accessible recreational activities for minority youth is underscored by several key statistics. The city faces economic challenges with a poverty rate of 20.67%, which is higher than both state and federal averages. Notably, 45% of children under 18 live below the poverty line, indicating significant economic hardship among the youth population. While specific data on exact number of youth residents is limited, the high child poverty rate underscores the importance of providing supportive services and opportunities for the younger population. These statistics highlight the critical need for incentives aimed at supporting underprivileged youth to foster a more equitable and thriving community. These figures highlight the importance of providing free, engaging activities in community parks to support underprivileged minority youth, offering them safe and constructive outlets during school break. To address these needs, Pretty proposes hosting a series of events aimed at enriching the lives of our youth. Community parks are vital hubs for recreation, connection, and inspiration. However, without constructive activities, these spaces often go underutilized. Pretty seeks to change that. Over the next year, we want to host fun, free, and enriching activities within our community parks to keep youth engaged and actively involved during summer breaks and other school holidays. Here are a few of the activities we envision. Movies in the Park, which would bring families together under the stars and enjoy free screenings of popular and inspiring films. Winter Wonderlands, which means transforming our local park into a magical winter scene with holiday lights, hot chocolate, and activities for all ages. Super Soaker Saturday, a water play day designed to beat the heat while encouraging friendly, competitive competition and teamwork. Also, Freestyle Fridays, where we do weekly open mic events for youth to showcase their talents in spoken words, music, and dance. Also, we do have a 3-year running, this is our 3rd year for our Youth Arts and Craft Festival, which we also host in the local park, and it's a vibrant celebration of creativity that allows participants to learn, create, and share their work in the community. These events are more than just fun. They provide a safe environment where young people can build relationships, discover new interests, and stay connected to positive influences. To make this vision a reality, we seek the city's support in the following areas: access to community parks and facilities, which designated spaces for events at no or minimal cost.
1 minute.
Resources for promotion, which means helping us spread the word through city newsletters, websites, and social media channels, and funding or in-kind sponsorships, which is covering supplies, equipment, permits, transportation, and transportation for participants. Also, partnership with existing city programs, which would be aligning with incentives that share our goals of youth engagement and enrichment. With your help, Pretty can provide a consistent calendar of activities that uplift our youth, strengthen family bonds, and revitalize our parks as true community hubs. Together, we can create a positive impact that resonates not just during school breaks, but throughout the year. I invite you to partner with us on this endeavor. Let's transform our parks into spaces of joy, growth, and opportunity for the next generation. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to our community.
Thank you so much. Any other comments?
Lisa Croupiers, 561 Indiana. I hate to come up and take the energy and beauty away from that last speaker, but I would like to say that I was quite surprised and shocked when audience members came in late, and the mayor went back and wanted to update the changes that had been made to the agenda. Is that something that can be done in Robert's Rules of Orders? I've never seen that done before. And I wonder if you would do the same for me if that had been done. I don't think so. So to me, as a community member, an audience member that comes to a lot of meetings, I saw that as maybe somebody on the council spoke with this person who was going and asked them to speak on this topic. And that to me could be kind of collusion. And the reason I say that is because there have been a number, way too many, should not even be done, accusations of collusion among our council members by the mayor and other council members. And we, the people that watch, we all know lots of people, it's said by you in your comments, we know that lots of people watch these meetings. Lots of residents watch them as they're happening or hear about them and go back and watch the video. And that looks terrible. My gosh, council members, you can talk to each other. You can talk to each other one-on-one. It's a quorum when there's 3 in the conversation, correct? I think I'm right. 4, okay. Well, one-on-one. If you've got questions with somebody, call them and talk to them. And also, I don't see any issue with, I know it took me a while to get to where I realized I could put in city council distribution instead of typing in each council member. And that's a very easy thing to do. I suppose there would need to be some conversation to decide if there's just going to be a one-way communication so everybody has information, and then make notes and what you want to bring up of the stuff that's shared. But I do not see any problem with communications being shared. I do realize, I think the attorney is
Right now, this time is for items not on the agenda.
I'm not talking about items on the agenda. I'm talking about practices that have occurred in the past and most likely will occur in the future unless some people change their ways. I'm talking about protocol. And we see this, and it's very divisive. If you all get along and are not divisive with each other, then we don't know that. And we all have voted you in. Residents have voted you in. You represent us residents. And there are other people who have influences here in our community, and you are welcome to listen to their things that they want to talk to you about, but your obligation is to vote on behalf of the residents. And if you need to talk to each other to get clarification, there are community members that come to these meetings. There are members on this council that do an exorbitant amount. I understand, thank you, I saw. There are individuals that do an exorbitant amount of work and research and detail work. And instead of resenting it, how about just saying, wow, thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Or does everybody have to feel that they're the ones that find this information? It is not easy to get up here and talk. Even when you do it a lot, like I have, it is not easy to come up here and talk. And there's probably a lot of people in the community that would like to speak and find it very intimidating. So please, please make it better for us and more approachable. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Clark Gruber, 305 Erie Street. I appreciate that our meetings are online because we can watch the meeting. And I am blessed to live in such a small community that I can get in my car and come down here and people are still talking. So, and I can be a part of that meeting. So that was one of the reasons I came down here to speak. Not only have I been on multiple boards and sat with people, my wife has been on local boards and regional boards and statewide boards and national boards. And she, when I looked at her and I said, should I come down here and talk? She said, yeah, I think you should, because she actually has a degree in leadership and was appalled that, this type of micromanagement, which we got to see throughout the meeting, but nobody sent me a text, because I think the only person who knew this was going to be on here was Mary, and I don't think Mary has my phone number, but she may. But I didn't get a text from somebody here on council or collude to come on down, but I did feel moved to come speak, and I'm glad that you all listened and that you all made your own decision. And like I said, I appreciate what you guys do. It's not easy. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Joe Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street. Again, those years of experience, I expect more out of a person, and I'm not for all this finger pointing like that. And I know some on the council smiles when people come behind this board and point fingers at council people like that. I think if you had all those years of experience, you should know better. Do I think Kate has the whereabouts to perform her job in a professional manner? Yes, I do. And I'm all for a person, letting a person do their job. I'm not about offending anybody like that. But unfortunately, many residents feel like there's a breach in the process. That's an elephant in the room that I don't think the council wanted to really deal with, or at least a break in communication. I think that's what the conversation was all about. I think it was healthy. I think we can move in a positive direction once we get everything out on the floor, on the table, and know what we're dealing with. And so, unfortunately, sometimes you have to have those hard conversations. But overall, do I think Kate is capable of doing her job? Yes. But people are asking for more transparency. The fact that this is taking so long, it makes people feel like they're, as my father used to say, a dead cat on the line somewhere. I'm not saying it, but others are feeling that way. Last comment, at our last city council meeting, and as well as tonight, you just heard it, I noticed that several planning commissioners, along with the township supervisor, had appeared or have appeared at these meetings and have spoken out against decisions or directions of the directions of this council. As a resident, I would like to know, perhaps by staff, if that practice is allowed. Just seems a little odd that you get people from planning and you come here and you dog out this body. The reason for that question is because, like I said, in times it's confusing to know which body, planning or city council, is actually making the policy, or is the policy-making body, or which body is really governing the city, or even the role of the planning commission. Because you get so many of them come here and pretty much badmouth the governing body. To me, the city council is the governing body. It's like you doing that to your boss or something. It's like me going in an office and chewing out my boss in front of everybody. It just seems confusing to me, and especially as it pertains to the city council, I don't understand it. Also, I believe that several of the city council members were told in advance that it would be inappropriate for them to attend planning commission meetings and speak on city council issues or directives passed down to planning. That's like Joe Reeser, Councilman Reeser, going to planning, talking on an issue that council sent them and dogging planning out based on their direction they're taking. I don't think we need to operate like that as boards trying to push this city in the right direction. These two boards should be working together. But every time I see a parade of commissioners come here and you, Mayor, grins immediately. I have no problem with you, but I'm just telling you, when they come, you're welcoming.
I am welcoming.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, just a few minutes ago, when Commissioner Gruber came up, you went to smiling again. I just think that I would like to know, one, is that a agreed upon practice that commissioners will come here? And if that's the case,
You have 1 minute.
if that's the case, if that's the expectation of the standards, it would be nice if the planning commissioners and the township supervisor can be held to the same expectation and the standards that a couple of the council members were told, that they weren't, that wouldn't be appropriate for them to go to planning and discuss issues that was passed down from city council. So I'm not for all this bullying tactic. I've said it over and over again. I've had to grow. And in my growing process, I came here a lot of times upset, pointing fingers. You don't get anything done doing that. You have to be kind. You have to be nice. Okay, I'm asking these individuals to stop coming up here ragging one person, calling out names. The minute I called out a name, Scott Smith stopped me. This particular individual called off 6 names. You should have stopped him.
Your time's up.
You should have stopped
Your
him.
time's up.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, we're moving on to city manager's comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, we had a number of items on the community updates that were not able to attend today, either by family members or not because of the weather. So I wanted to reassure that we'll be bringing forward the proclamation for Tom Renner, the swearing in for Chief Swope, and of course, the presentation or update from Family Bound, which handles foster adoptions in the county. So to be determined, right? So that's number 1. 2, the city has contracted with Anland Corporation to install our pier gates after some time of getting that passed. We are looking at having them installed when the weather warms up due to some cement being in part of that installation. So more on that. I can't tell you how excited I would be to get those done. 3, kudos to city staff with the street clearing and the weather with the snow and the ice. I know we've gotten quite a bit of snow, a lot more than we have last year, so I just want to make their efforts feel appreciated. I know they've been out there quite a bit. 4, we are coming up on our seasonal hiring fair. We typically have that the same day as the We Care Island Sit, which is February 22nd. I know I'll be having an invite going out to city councils, so hopefully you can participate in the We Care Island Sit. That is to raise money for families in need, but it'll also be for our hiring fair, for our seasonal hiring fair. Typically, we hire between 40 and 50 people for seasonal jobs. And 5, we are working on setting an open house, a meet and greet for Chief Kevin Swope. That will be February 10th, 5 to 6:30. We should have a flyer out here by the end of the week. So put that on your calendars, and hopefully you can come out and meet Chief Swope. That's open to the public. We hope everyone can come out. If not, he will be making kind of, I guess you could say, a tour of the community, but this will be like an open house for everybody. Those are my comments.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
I know the answer to this, but we didn't get to swear in Chief Swope tonight, but he's actually a sworn-in chief. This was just ceremonial. Okay.
This is a ceremony, right?
Just
So
in
he
case anyone was wondering.
Yes. So he was sworn in February 6th. That was his first day.
Yeah.
This is more of a ceremonial thing, and also we'd like his family to be here.
Yeah.
Due to the weather, they were not able to drive in.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said January.
Oh, I beg your pardon. January 6th, yes.
Okay. Mary?
I forgot. I had another one.
Yes.
I've been getting a couple of emails and a couple of calls from runners and dog walkers about unshoveled sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
And so our code enforcement people do look for that. And the one runner mentioned he thought that it was a lot of times the short-term rentals that were not getting shoveled. Can they call the short-term rental hotline number for that?
They can.
Okay.
They can. By ordinance, there is a period of time where people do have, some time to get them shoveled. But if you're saying an STR that has not shoveled it, I would encourage people to call the hotline.
And that hotline's on the website.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Plus, we've got it outside, and I think it's on our website, so, yeah. And I should say, it's not only just that you can call it, or you can text it too. We're trying to make that an easy way to do that.
Mary?
Yes. So now, So I had asked you earlier and you didn't know, and I was wondering, have you been able to identify why the ZBA notice for Monday didn't have the email notification like it normally does?
Yeah, I was not able to connect with staff on that, but that is something we like to get those public notifications that go out. So I have not ascertained why that happened. I do know we have some new staff members, but that hasn't been an issue so far, so I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, yeah, so just people should know that there is a ZBA meeting on January 27th, and the agenda packet is online. If you're waiting for the email notice, there was a glitch. And I do know that was a glitch. I've usually gotten them all for the ZBA. I think it would help people, Kate, to understand. So when they email the City Council General Council email address, you also receive that, correct, in your inbox?
I do.
So they would not necessarily have to copy you. You automatically get included on that. And you had indicated that you will be bringing a moratorium extension to us for our February 3rd meeting.
That's correct.
I believe that does not include attached condos, and there has been, because it was really for the purpose of the lottery, there has been a lot of discussion amongst comments, and even in the draft that came back from Planning Commission, that attached condos would be included in the cap. And I would like to know if the attorney would recommend that at this point in time, with the delay in getting this going, at least in the R1A and R1B district, which is the districts we're most concerned about with increased short-term rentals, business short-term rentals, if that might be something that could be included in the moratorium.
So we're looking at attached condos and just, I'm sorry, what did you say?
R1A, R1B.
I don't know how many actually attached condos there are on R1A or R1B, but that's something we can look at and ask the attorney, and we can provide options to the council.
I'm just trying to take into consideration comments from people in the audience and emails that we've gotten, and with the delay of getting this taken care of. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to mayor and councilperson's comments. Letitia?
First, I'd like to just say thank you to everyone who came out tonight. And appreciation for Dr. King's birthday on yesterday. I just wanted to read one quick quote. It says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." And everybody have a good night.
Thank you. George?
I also want to thank everyone that came to the meeting, and also all those that watched online. In the agenda packet today, in the consent agenda, was a report from the Planning Commission and the ZBA, and I wanted to just highlight that you look at that report, you see that the Planning Commission, ZBA, did a lot of good work this past year, especially with the zoning ordinance rewrite. So thank you, everyone on Planning Commission. Mary's a part of that, and you guys do good work, and it's a volunteer organization, which they don't get paid enough for what they do. That's it.
Thank you. Joe?
My only comment is, I know many people have said that they get frustrated standing up at the podium, which is not easy, and then sitting down and having no idea what we're thinking up here. Please know I feel the same way, and I think a lot of us do. I would love to be able to thank people, especially tonight, the woman that spoke up about youth, and what a great presentation you gave, but we're not supposed to be able to comment after you speak, so don't think we're not thinking about you, and I would love to comment, good and critical, of some of the comments that have been said, but that's just the way it is. But I am grateful for all the people that come here, especially tonight in the bad weather, and I am grateful for all the people that listen and like George spoke up tonight. He gets stopped different places and comments about what he said. I am always amazed how many people watch on TV what we're saying and what we're doing. And please know we're all trying our very level best. I know at times it's frustrating. I've said this before. It just takes a lot of time. I'm a business guy. I'm used to making quick decisions. This is hard for me not to be able to do it, but we're trying. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary?
Yes, thank you, George, for recognizing the Planning Commission annual report that does include not just Planning Commission, but ZBA, and they are all volunteer, non-paid positions. So thank you, everyone on those two committees that have helped pass the new zoning ordinance and everything else that comes before you. For this, there's been a lot of discussion about the meeting from the 16th. And there was, we talk about accountability and respect and notice. And the item that I did add tonight, I actually had sent to Kate about 2 weeks ago. And it was shared with City Council. So everyone was aware that I may raise that issue. It was opted not to put it in the agenda packet, so the public was not aware of it. But Robert's Rules of Order do allow us to add things at the start. And so with that, I've heard from a lot of people and trying to help us move forward, trying to be respectful of each other. And that includes, reading ordinances and knowing what are in ordinances and not trying to improperly infer that terms have come from someone when they were in the zoning ordinance as approved and voted on under Mayor Brown's leadership. And to help us move forward, I think a step in the right direction would be an apology to the community and to me for the way she handled the meeting on January 16th. And I would like to see everyone try to treat everyone equally also. With my legal background, I've always felt like I was an advocate for the voiceless. I thought that was vulnerable humans and animals. But sometimes with the bullying tactics in our neighborhood and in our community, it seems like I'm sticking up for the residents. And yes, some discussions are difficult. And thank you, Bishop Wilkins, sometimes they need to be had. People need to understand that we are listening to them. We cannot always discuss everything in open, but please understand that we are trying to do what's right for the community and trying to appreciate all the different things that are being brought to us and trying to meld them together. And for the community, ending on a positive note, on this Thursday, the Lodge's Give Back Day is for the Historical Association of South Haven, so please enjoy some excellent dining and help HASH help them with their endeavors to remodel their historical building that they've acquired. And also for youth, just a reminder that the free programs through the Center of the Art with collaboration of the Van Buren Youth Initiative are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and starting this week on Thursdays for guitar, and any questions can go to Carrie at the Center for the Arts.
Wendy?
There were so many good comments tonight up here from the audience about coming together and trying to do better and be better and work together, and I just appreciate hearing that. I feel like it's such an important message to hear and to absorb at this point in time. So I just wanted to thank everyone who kind of has that on their mind and is bringing that out into the open. Thank you to Ms. Goodwin Hooker for letting us know about this awesome nonprofit. I love it. It's so amazing, and I can't wait to learn more and see what I can do to help. And I just wanted to shout out to my offspring for sitting here for 3 hours so she can see what I do every other week. And that's it.
Thank you.
Right.
Jeff.
Thanks to everyone that commented and came tonight. We can answer some questions, and I wrote some notes to try and address a few things. Ms. Croupiar's, a few things that she mentioned. I don't bring my cell phone to the desk and that to here because that was advice from legal counsel to not do that. Someone could be texting me how to vote, and so I don't bring my cell phone up here. If you can email all of us with the group email, but if we respond all, that is a violation of the Open Meetings Act, according to our legal counsel. A planning commissioner, and it was not clear tonight, but a planning commissioner can come speak to us if they're speaking as a citizen. That's what legal told us. Unfortunately, we don't have that option. I asked the question, this was 4 years ago, I asked the question, well, what about on social media? And they said, well, once you're an elected official, you always represent the city, so that speaking as a citizen doesn't apply to us. And that's probably why we were told we shouldn't go speak at planning commission, other than Mary, that's her role, to speak for us. But that we are, as Bishop Wilkins said, their governing body, so that's why we don't go there. But them coming here, you're right, it's kind of a gray area. But if they're speaking as a citizen, then they are entitled to do that. And that's just based on the legal advice that I've gotten over the years. But, and then Gail Patterson Gladney, I wasn't going to, but it's my favorite quote. As she mentioned, when we used to meet on Martin Luther King's birthday, I always gave this quote that not everyone can be famous, but people can be great, because greatness is determined by of course I blew it now. It's determined by what they give to society. And that's perfect because George was complimenting the Planning Commission and the work that Mary does, and we could throw in Liberty Hyde Bailey and the work that Wendy does there, and while we all do participate, and all those people that work on all those other committees in the city. So thank them all for all the different committees and councils and that are out there doing this stuff. Those are my comments.
Thank you. I love that quote. Thanks for everyone who came tonight. Just in the spirit of Dr. King, I wrote some comments. If you're quiet, you can hear the roar of people putting Dr. King's quotes on Facebook. You can still hear the murmur of people dropping boxes of macaroni and cheese off at food banks. But Dr. King said, true compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice that produces beggars needs restructuring. As adults, we need to put an end to our childish ways to stop poverty. We are the edifice. We are the elected officials who need to restructure our city. Okay, now I lost page 2. That's why we are welcoming Black-owned businesses to our city and developing programs for our youth, creating affordable housing and increasing jobs. We are encouraging people of color and our LGBTQ leaders to apply for our boards and commissions. And we are increasing equity in our parks and tree plantings. So let us make justice our goal in 2025. Thank you. If there's no further business, we're adjourned.